So we have some fabulous guests on my show today. I have Chef Dennis and Lady T. How are y'all doing?
Doing good.
I am doing blessed. I'm so blessed.
That
So
is
blessed.
amazing. So I just want to say, Dennis is showing love from New York, and Lady T is showing love from Maryland. But I would like to highlight their podcast because they have an amazing podcast that's reaching a lot of people called From the Battle to the Glory. And we're going to get into this podcast and how you got started and why you do what you do. So, who wants to discuss first about your podcast?
Well, I'll go first because not because I'm the host. She's the co-host. We bring something dynamic to the table. And so how it got started was me and Lady T are cousins. We are very close knitted. And we have a relationship outside of that. And what happened was one day we were out. We had a great conversation. And I was on the verge of getting a podcast together. And so our conversation was so intriguing, and I was like, "Oh man!" So I wanted to come back to that conversation. We never had an opportunity to really come back to that conversation, but we had so much fun that evening. We were with other cousins as well, and we had so much fun. I'm talking about we had a blast, hugging and loving on one another. It was so much joy in it, and so I got home. When I got home, I was thinking, and God put it in my spirit. He said, "Call T." Now she already had her own, conversation with God, and so I'll let her expound on that. But in that, when I called her, she was like, "Yeah, no questions asked, no nothing." Boom, she's like, "Yes," and so from there we started, and we just been on fire ever since. And it's been just a blessing because you know what, some people get tired and they're like, you know what, I can't do it no more. No, she wasn't like that. She was in it to win it. It definitely was something that God was in, and I'm so blessed to have her as the co-host. She's wonderful. She brings some fire to the table, and that's just what you need. You need fire on the table at that moment. And I'm so fire. I'm not saying fire like in a negative way. I'm saying fire like when you on fire for God. It's
Mm.
blazing. It's a blazing fire. And so that's what she brings, a blazing fire of love, peace, joy, and wisdom. And so, that's how we started. And I let her, explain her journey of how she received it too. Yeah, Lady T.
Oh, well, it's so funny because I felt like it was all divinely scripted how him and I reconnected. We're cousins. We hung out in the past when we were younger, and we kind of like, had our own lives. And I went through a journey of, kind of, and I won't say kind of, I went through a journey of trials and tribulations. I had a lot of things happen in my life that made me have to reflect on myself to ask why this was happening. And I really desired to have a big brother type. So, my heart was full of, I am so now let me get like go backwards. I was grateful for a lot of stuff. And so my gratefulness was more like, God, whatever you do, whatever comes to my way, I will say yes. But I also knew I wanted to have a big brother. So I had both of those type of, feelings in my heart of being grateful for all that God brought me through because I went through so much. And then it was like, but I always wanted to have a big brother. I am the oldest of five. And, not having a big brother was something. I've always had big sisters. They're always around. I'm very much a girly girl. I have two daughters. I don't have boys. I have brothers, but, it's just like I wanted a big brother. So, and with my gratefulness, I was like, okay, I'm going to say yes. And so when Chef came to me and was like, we had our great, get together, it was so much fun. It was reconnecting. And it was so beautiful that when he came back to me and says, hey, you want to do this podcast with me? I couldn't say no. It felt like I was pulled into the direction. It felt like it was like, yes, this is right here. Here you go. What are you going to say? And so I had to get out of myself. It was more of like, I have to understand how to communicate, because I was hibernating for a very long time because of all that I went through. But then the phase of the hibernation left me, and I wanted to become so grateful because God blessed me. Everything that I went through, I had to go through the time of sacrificing and letting go and seeing myself. But all through it, God was still blessing me. He was still blessing me. And it was just so grateful in my heart. So I had no other choice, right? I felt that urge. It was so strong in me. So, but we have a great relationship. I think our rapport, how we communicate, I feel like we have a great connection in our relationship where we can have conversations. We don't agree with each other all the time, but we talk it out, and that's what we are supposed to do with one another. And it feels good to have that relationship with my big brother. And, he is my family, but he is like a big brother. He's always trying to protect me. He's always trying to tell me what to do. He's always doing it. He can't help it, right? And I love him for it.
Oh man, like that is amazing. Like, I mean, not only to be family, but to be connected for God's divine purpose. Now, really know a lot of podcasts out there that have people that are connected like that, but that is a blessing in itself. Okay, let's just be honest. Okay, that is a blessing. And there was something that you said, Lady T, that really kind of resonated with me when you said you had to come out of hibernation mode and then to walk in your purpose of what God has for you on this podcast. I felt that. I felt that because sometimes we just get into that comfortableness where we just want to do what we do. We stop depending on God. We stop calling on him. We know he's there, but you just like stop calling on him because you're just like, I don't want to do anything, like I've been in that era.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm thankful for y'all's podcast, honestly. I've been watching y'all. I've been stalking y'all a little bit. I hope you're okay with that.
Of course, man. That's what we want to do. We want to be encouraging to people that all. And listen, and it's like it's nothing but God, in the midst of it. Because listen, uh, you know, Lady T respects everything that I'm doing, and I don't want to do it without her. But sometimes I'm out there and I'm doing it myself. But I meet a lot of people that comes along with that, and truly, it is some amazing people have came on the show and really touched us, as well as just somebody out there in the world is being inspired in their brokenness, inspired in their darkness, their darkest moments of their life. And that's my love for it. It's not for money. God bless me and Lady T with great jobs, a great journey in the workplace. And here it is, we on a platform where you can do something greater and reach people all over the world. And we have met some people that don't even live in the States. Okay, they live out of the States, but it's been amazing. And we have some new guests coming up in September. Oh my goodness, I'm telling you, it's gonna blow you guys' mind. And
Yeah.
so I'm just excited to be here on Wizard.
What's up, Dallas?
What's Up Dallas
Dallas.
magazine, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, listen. I've been seeing some of your stuff too. I love it. I love.
Thank you.
I love the conversation.
Yes, I am all about conversation. So, when all of us connected and you invited me to your podcast, I was like, you know what, this is gonna be amazing. We're on the same kingdom level. Like, we're just gonna go ahead and talk about it. And then, life be life and things happen. So I'm still gonna get on y'all's podcast. Don't worry.
We definitely. Listen. We don't put no pressure on anyone. We want you to be encouraged and inspired. That's it. So we definitely
Absolutely.
gonna have you on.
Absolutely. I look forward to it. But my next question for y'all is your title of your podcast, From the Battle to the Glory. How did you come about with that name?
Okay. Well, I came first. Our first season was What's Cooking, and so I am definitely working towards being spirit led all the time. And so Lady T had mentioned to me, "Oh, Chef, our topics always faith based." She didn't say anything. She just said, "What? what's cooking? We don't talk about what's no food and not like that. So then someone else said, chef, why is your show What's Cooking and you guys don't talk about no food or nothing? And listen, while they were saying that, I was writing and I was listening to them. There still was going on. As soon as I was writing, from the battle to the glory.
Mhm.
And everybody has a battle. And when you come out of the battle, that's the glory, receiving the glory out of your journey. And so that's why God gave it to me. Like I said, I wrote it just like that, from the battle to the glory. And I said, you know what? I told Lady T, I said, yo, that's the new thing right there. That's it right there. From the battle to the glory. It's because me and her share a similar story. And in that similar story, we had to go through a battle. And look at us now. We're in the glory. We're walking in our purpose. We're doing the things that God allow us to do, but it's his will that allow us to do the things that we do. It's not ours,
Mhm.
because guess what? I don't know anybody that don't want to have money. But guess what? We have the money that is for us, the job that is for us, because we decided to walk into our purpose, even though it was a struggle. And so that stuck out on me. And I was like, you know what? I love it. And I'm working on some other things with t-shirts and hats, because some people want to, they want to promote us.
Yeah.
And so just think about it. The brokenness that's in the world, that's the battle. Where's the
Mhm.
glory?
Mhm.
Where's the glory in someone going through something? Someone going through being raped. You got to have some glory. Where is that? Where is it? You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And of course, we know the glory is God. God be the glory. And so that's how I
Mhm.
came up with that. That the title, the new title, because this is our second season. We going on our
Mhm.
third season in February. And
Oh.
listen, it went so fast because I can't even believe it's 2 years already. Can you, Lady T?
No, I cannot.
I'm serious. I can't believe it's going on 2 years already. It's quick.
Mhm. I love that for y'all. I love it. And the title, it speaks volumes too. And your guests too. They've all been through something that's going to inspire someone else on their journey. So
Yes,
you're both a very firm believer that we overcome by the blood of Jesus Christ and the power of testimony. So
of course.
yes, because that's what we're supposed to do. Like we are supposed to go out, talk to people what God has done in our lives. We're supposed to be like, walking in our purpose. And, I gotta know, just like, a summary of y'all's testimonies each. Like I know y'all went through something to get y'all to where you are and why you're passionate about talking to people. So who wants to go first?
I'll let, I'll let Lady T go first this time.
Oh yeah. And
Ah,
it's
and
so
listen,
funny.
oh, this is what I'm talking. No, I'm so sorry. I'm excited because you know what? This is what happens when you allow God to work in his time. And
Mhm,
you're gonna understand why I say this. It's his time, it's not my time, it's his, and it's
mhm.
perfect. His timing is perfect time. Go ahead, Lady T. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's so funny because me and Chef always talk about testimony, and I really hate talking about my life. I am not a fan of talking about my life because I feel so blessed. And when I talk about my life, I do bring up the past mistakes. And no, it's not about shame. It's more like, but I so overcame it. But I also have to kind of drag back all of the bad ways, all of my flaws, and bring them out of that dirt. And it's kind of been hard for me because I've been so filled with joy of, my blessings. I'm just so grateful. And so I'm not used to talking about my past. Okay, so here we go. This is what Chef always wants. I've been married more than a few times and I've been divorced. And I have always wanted to have a relationship with one man, but I have had my own issues, like, me trying to communicate with the men in my life. I, didn't do it right. I didn't know how to communicate right. There was a lot of things. It was just very messy. I had a messy relationship with the men that I've married. And I got to a point where it was just like, there was one day, my last relationship, I was more like, why am I here? What am I doing? I am so much better than this abuse that, because it was abuse in my mind. If you are not giving me love, if you are not showing me love, if you are disregarding me, you are putting me to the side over and over and over. I don't want to, tell what exactly I went through when it comes to, I don't want to talk about people and say, well, he was a drunk, he was alcoholic, he was a drug. I don't want to do that to the people that I've been in relationships with, because I do come to them and I'll see them, I'll embrace them, I'll still show love. But I don't want it where it's like, well, you're talking about me, but you didn't talk about yourself. And that's the thing. That's why I keep it where it's like a neutral, where I'm not going to put the business out there. But I know that what I did, I was not, trying to be a good woman in a way where it was fulfilling my heart. I was doing it for another person. I always did it for another man. I always wanted to please another man, to want him to be with me. And that was not the way. That's not the way. And so I've always kind of attracted men that had that way about them, that, I'm very good girl type, where I'm very loving. I cook, I clean, I'm all that, right? I'm all that, taking care of the books, I got the money in the bank. That type of woman is me. And men wanted to take advantage of it. And they did. They did a good job, but I was giving and I was loving and I wanted it. I wanted love, wanted it back. And I just didn't do it the right way. Everything was wrong. And I had to see myself in the last relationship that I was in, to see how messy it was, to see how messy it got, how I didn't want to live like that. I was just like, there has to be a better way. And that is when I called to God. I mean, I really called. And then I also had dreams. There were dreams that I had that were very, very profound. I told my parents about it. I've always had dreams when I was a little girl. So it kind of came back. A little things were starting to come back once I called on, the Lord. Things started coming to me. I was starting to see certain things, but then I was able to break free of the relationship that was hurting me. And I did. And once I broke free from the relationships that were hurting me, I became like a warrior. I still had to hibernate, because my hibernation was more of a like, I'm healing. I had to self-heal. I had to, meditate with God. There was one full year, every single day. I sat in the morning, sat down, closed my eyes. You can call it meditation, good prayer. I sat there for at least an hour. And I called, I had that inner voice to call on the Lord. And it was always every single day. And it was a dedication. I went through so many phases of what we call worship, what we call praising God. And I was doing it because it felt so real. Like it felt like I could touch God. You know what I mean? It was like me having the best relationship, because it was me loving myself. Stop, going outside of myself, looking for somebody to fulfill my needs, and from a man or from my children or whatever. I had so many things that I was looking outside of myself. So I feel like, my past, it brought me to where I am today. And so I have a hard time telling my story, because it's more like, my story is not like the others that I've heard. I've heard so many traumatic stories that have touched my heart in such a hard way, where it's like, why are we doing this to our people? I've not gone through all of the tragedies that other people have gone through, and it breaks my heart. So I feel like my testimony is really minute compared to what others have really experienced. And it's not that I'm saying I'm better, it's more of the saying that I have the compassion of my heart is so sad for somebody that went through all they went through. I don't know why it is the way it is. It's a lot of things are unfair, and it doesn't make sense. I have no answers, but I just feel like, me, I try not to talk too much about myself. I try to, give good word, good wisdom to help a person, to whatever that need is, that I have to say whatever needs to be said. I allow the Holy Spirit to speak right through me whenever I have to say what needs to be said. And so I've lived that way for several years. I'm going on 10 years with this whole, moving into the right direction. And I feel like, my life is going in even a better direction, even though I'm seeing so many things depart and people depart from my life. I still have that hope. And I'm still going to talk that to other people. And so that's where I am today. But I feel blessed. I feel so blessed. I feel so grateful. I am going through a lot of transitions, but I am still grateful. And that gratefulness, I always want that to hold me and keep me, because I feel like God is really working something in me. I get scared about it because I don't really want to be seen. I don't want to do too much. I'm very introvert, believe it or not. And this right here is totally different from what I normally do. I'm not really a big talker, but they say I am. I'm like, what? But I am.
No, I do want to tell you, first of all, thank you for being transparent. I know that it's really hard for someone to talk about what God has put them through. And if this is the first time you're talking like this, I just want to tell you, God sees you. Okay. And I see you. And your story kind of is almost a little parallel to stuff that I went through. I've been married, I'm on my third marriage. Okay. I was also that woman that was seeking validation through gift giving, love, service, because that's just the kind of personality. I'm very introverted. I was that kind of woman who I expected them to love me back the way I wanted it because I was giving them something because I never knew what real love was. That was my thing. So I felt like if I was good to them, they should be good to me. And that's not how God worked for me. But I've been with my husband now, my third marriage, my husband now, I've been with him 10 years. We've been married for almost 9. And if I could just tell you how God had to show me what love wasn't before I could understand what love really was, I had to trust God first. And your testimony is powerful. Even though you may not see it, you are a light and a beacon to somebody. And, even if, God had to work through you to understand that you have a way of speaking to people that nobody else can, that is your testimony. Because I believe that's your gift. You have a gift of discernment too. So
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you.
you're very welcome. Chef Dennis, it's your turn.
Okay, yes, I love it. Listen, so I'm like Lady T a little bit. So I'm gonna get into I too I was in a divorce. So, my divorce was ugly because, that was my first marriage, you know, um to me, that was my first love, but I didn't handle it correctly.
Mhm,
So I'm gonna leave that there. I didn't handle it correctly.
mhm,
I had to learn going through trials and tribulations. The one thing I always say, the most important thing that I grabbed from that was always being humble. I wasn't humble enough. I didn't fight the way I'm supposed to fight for my marriage because I wasn't humble. Um, I've been manipulated in going through my divorce, not by the ex-wife, by another woman. And so and my trial and tribulation, listen, let me tell you something. It's so real. The enemy is so real. When the people say the enemy ain't real, he's not real, he's real. Listen, I was married, I was working in a college, and in working in a college, you got all different type of women, right? So
mhm,
one of the women that was working with me was like, "Oh, you about to get married?" She's coming on to me and everything. I'm gonna show you how the enemy works. I said this to Lady T. No, I said this before on the show, but it's important because this is how. Now, I'm not saying women. This is how so I'm gonna be clear about that. It's not about the
mhm,
woman. It's about the enemy. Because when they're not connected to God, the enemy to their soul can use them because
mhm,
their mind is not clear. It's not connected to God. And so I got married. And when I got married, this is when it came on strong. The woman came on stronger, got me over to the house. We did whatever we was going to do. I'm going to tell you something. This is why I said, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be so, like you said, transparent and so for real. The woman said to me, you supposed to be a Christian and you here with me. You ain't no man of God. And we still did what we wanted to do. Right?
Mm.
Boom. Time went on. She's like, you know what? I don't want to deal with you no more. Just like that. Now I committed a sin. The number one sin. Wife never knew nothing about it. No, she would never, because I was working at nighttime. So I go in the afternoon, I get off at midnight, and I was working in New York City. I come back to Jersey. Boom. So she'd never know. When I came home, she was asleep most of the time. But the moral of the story is that, guess what? When I did that, it ruined everything.
Mm.
Even though my wife didn't know it at the time, it ruined everything because my attitude changed. I was selfish. I wasn't thinking about her feelings. Now, mind you, this might have been what the woman was carrying, and it came onto me. Because guess what? Like I said, I was selfish. I wasn't caring. I wasn't thoughtful. All I was doing is I was providing, but I was not doing the necessary things as a king should treat his queen. And so that turned into a whole snowball. You know, when they say a woman scorned, I have done so much, said so much, as a man of God at that time, speaking to my wife incorrectly, that whole thing, I messed that up. She said, you could never tell me nothing about God because of how I talked to her. Because I was, in her eyes, I was a man of God. We got our daughter baptized, we were going to church, everything. But the things that was coming out my mouth was wrong. And in the word, it says the things that come out your mouth can be like poison. So those things that I was saying were poisoning to her. And so guess what? She shut down. She said, look, you can't tell me nothing about God. Not when you treating me and acting like this. And so I had to go through a season of singleness, loneliness. Like, I'm talking about by myself. Like, I'm out there just doing all type of stuff. God still had his hand on my life. Sleeping different women, going different states and doing all different type of stuff. God still had his hand on me. But here's where the story changed. Guess what? I was getting ready to go to somewhere, right? And just have a good time, just drinking and partying and doing all that type of stuff. God said, that's enough. I had enough. This is what happens when God has his hand on your life. He has a calling for you. He really wants you. He took everything away from me. Everything. I had a brand new car. They towed it. First they booted it. They towed it. Then I went through this whole process of getting it back. They sold it. Brand new car, they sold it. Now, when they sold it, now I gotta catch the bus. I gotta catch the train. I start work at 5 o'clock. I had to catch the train at 2 o'clock just to be working at 5 o'clock. I had to walk in the snow, in the rain, to the bus station, to the train station. Nobody there to help me. I had to do it all on my own. So what it taught me was how to be humble, how to be obedient. This is what changed my mindset. It opened up my eyes to realize I had to be more humble. I had to be more meekness. I had to be more obedient. So that was a transition for me. I was always with God. I was always doing things. They always saw me as a church boy, hanging out with the boys. They said, yo, man, D, what you doing out here with us? You don't belong out here with us. You church boy. I'm like, what you talking about? I ain't no church boy. But guess what? God said, yeah. They saw, in those times, they saw something in me. They said, man, D, you ain't supposed to be out here with us. But I was out there doing my wrong thing. They still say, yo, church boy ain't supposed to be here. And so, knowing that, once I got older, I was like, you know what? That's it. I just want to live for God. That was a turning point for me. I've been in so many car accidents, walked away, no injuries. I'm talking major car accidents. People running stop signs, hit me head on. A cop hit me, was drunk, ran a red light. He walked away. I walked away. I walked to the hospital. with no injuries. So, you know, I'm truly blessed, like Lady T said, truly blessed. And just as I got older, you know, I have 2 daughters. Now I realize, and I am the oldest of 5 as well. Now that I look at my life, I look back, you know what? A lot of people look up to me. A lot of people looking at me and saying, you know what? I want to be like my older brother. He got it together. He got a good job. He's doing a podcast, got his own business. He's doing great. And so I want to be held to that standard. Because you know what? It helps me stay focused. It helps me stay structured. It helps me keep my eye on the prize. Because you know what? I got people looking up to me saying, wow, he did it. He came out of the storm. And so I love that. That gives me fuel because you know what? They're looking up to me. Let me stay in line. Let me stay correct. Let me speak correct. But when I'm wrong, let me be humble enough to say I'm wrong. Let me be, you know, humble enough to say, you know what, I didn't do that right. So let me fix that. Let me try to fix that. And the key thing that I would say to most people is it's important about relationships, how to handle relationships. Because guess what? If you can't handle God's relationship, how can you handle other people in your life that's supposed to be in your life if you can't handle the relationship with Christ? That's important. Your relationship with him is important. So he will teach you and guide you how to have a relationship with other people. Humbleness is key. Because guess what? You have to have empathy and sympathy at times. They're 2 different things. Because you have to know how to have empathy. You have to have, sometimes you got to have sympathy. And you got to know how to do that. If you don't have that understanding, you don't know how to do those things. And so, you know, that's why I do what I do. That's why I'm striving to be perfect. No, I'm not perfect. I strive to do that. No, Lady T said this all the time. Jesus came on the earth as a human being. He did it. So it's possible. It's through Christ, nothing is impossible. It's possible. It's just by cleaning your heart, cleaning your mind, renewing your heart. Those are all the things that you need to keep you pushing. And so, you know, that's a little bit of my I got so many testimonies, but that's just, I feel like now that I heard Lady T, I feel like that's part of mine too, because I look back, but I say, man, I got a beautiful wife. Even right now, well, we've been married 6 years. It's a work in progress. It's not easy. It's work in progress. I got to humble myself there, you know, just trying to navigate as a man, as a husband, as a leader, you know what I'm saying? As a brother, as a son, it's all as a friend. Still got to be able to do that and say, you know what? I still got to be in alignment of God. I can't step out because if I step out, then guess what? Yeah, I don't like hearing people tell me, well, you ain't supposed to do this. Why are you doing this? I don't want to hear that. So guess what? I try to stay on the straight and narrow. When I fall off, I'll be like, I fell off. All right, which one? Yeah, I ain't perfect. But I'm going to get back on the saddle. I'm going to keep it moving, keep it pushing. So
Yeah.
that's Chef Dennis for you right there.
I love that. And again, thank you for your transparency because, you know, if we never understand what God brought us through, there's no way we could actually talk to people about what he has done in our lives. So I am again thankful for your testimony, for being transparent. I'm loving both of y'all as my guests because I feel like this is a really beautiful thing for us to be connecting. I believe that God doesn't connect things or people for on accident. Everybody's on purpose. So, you know, I'm gonna be hearing more from y'all, and I want to have y'all on my show again for sure.
Definitely, it's nothing but, you know, like you said, divine connection, divine connection. And I love it. I love this. This is so much fun. I look forward to, and you know what, Rachel, you know what was so key. That's why I love Lady T. I love her. You know why? Because God puts it in my spirit to always think about her. You know, last year we didn't take no break. I don't think, did we, Lady T? We take a break?
Maybe like a week, maybe a week.
Man. We taking a whole month. And that's because of her, because you know what? God said, listen, take the whole month off. And she was excited. because I want to be spirit led, and he put it on my heart to say, "Yo, take the whole month off of August, enjoy. Me and her gonna get together. We gonna spend some time with family. We even have a guest that was on the show that lives close to her. She's willing to come up to where they live at, and we just get together and have some fun. So we're gonna do that in the month of August. That's what I love about the podcast, just being genuine, real, and transparent, and meeting people that's willing to go out of their comfort zone to meet us. That is so much. That is truly a blessing, because when they want to come outside of their comfort zone and say, "Look, I want to get with you guys. I love coming," and that's amazing. It truly is. It's amazing.
It really is. I agree with that too. Like, you know, my a little bit of my testimony, I was very introverted. And when I met my husband and I started seeing him being so social at church, you know, I've been church hurt. Church hurt is something that I have experienced. So, you know, when he came on the scene, at first I was just like, oh, well, he's just having fun. It's okay. But I started thinking, I was like, I really want to be like that. Like, I want to be social. Like, God, go to work on me. So right around COVID, you know, when that COVID season happened, we all remember that. Um, I started getting into building my confidence through modeling. And my husband told me, he said, you know, if you want to help build your confidence, go for it. Just go out and do it. But you gotta talk to people. And so I started connecting with people that way. And when through my modeling, I started doing the magazines, publishing. That's how What's Up Dallas came to fruition. I was publishing photography magazines at that time. So I had people from all over the continents, like everywhere, South Africa, photographers from UK, all that kind of stuff that I was publishing in my magazines. So I was meeting people from all over the world, not knowing that God was preparing me for something so dynamic and something so powerful and impactful right here in DFW. So we started, I should say, God gave me the idea to start What's Up Dallas magazine. He said, if you are going to do it, like do What's Up Dallas magazine, you know, it's going to be a blessing. But What's Up Dallas was the name that was revealed to me. Through 4 times, the Spirit revealed it to me that it had to be What's Up Dallas with the exclamation mark, because Dallas is very questionable. I don't know if y'all been to Dallas, but sometimes some parts of Dallas you just don't go into. Other parts of Dallas, you gotta hold your pinky up just to drink your tea. You know what I'm trying to say? Like it's very diverse, but there's so much social media and so much media in Dallas where there's no positivity coming out of Dallas. So I wanted to do something to give back to the community, to let them know there are people that are doing something good in Dallas. That's how it all came to fruition. And if I kid you not, God has blessed me. I'm doing this for September of 2022, I believe, is when I started What's Up Dallas magazine, and I have connected with over 1,500 people just in Dallas, and talked about their business, their purpose, why they thrive, bringing their grandmama's recipes to their own business, like, you know, what God has blessed them with. And now I'm meeting you guys on my platform, and I'm just like, what? You're showing love for me from all the way over there where y'all are? That's what's up.
That's what's up.
Definitely, definitely. I do got a question for you.
Sure.
Dallas is kind of big. I think Dallas the biggest biggest city in Texas?
It's the third biggest.
What's the
So
first biggest?
Houston.
Okay, Houston.
Houston is the biggest. If you talk about like how many people are in the city area wide, Houston is the biggest. Then you have Austin, which is very compacted, but it's 1.5. I think it's like, oh no, I think Dallas is the second biggest. But it's Houston, then Dallas, then Austin. But Dallas has 2.5 million people just in Dallas. And you know, it's literally we can
Pe-
survive on our own community. Like people know how to cook. We have farms, we have ranches, we have all that kind of stuff. So we can literally just survive right here without outsourcing, which is really crazy, but that's how it works.
It's good, actually. Very good to have that, though.
Mhm.
T,
Absolutely.
you've been to Texas?
Yeah, twice. I went to Dallas games. I used to be a Dallas Cowboys fan. I mean, I still am, but I'm trying not to be. That's what I'm trying to say. I try not to
Oh,
be. It's too much passion in
Hear that.
it.
Oh, I will always be a Dallas fan, no matter what. And one day we'll go back to the Super Bowl. One day. I just
Yeah.
don't know when that's going to be. But I'm literally right here by the Dallas Mavericks Stadium. The Dallas Mavericks, you know, I want to say the Dallas Stars Arena, the Mavericks Arena, like where I'm literally right here. So, that's just a little bit about what I do, but I'm just thankful that God is helping me be more confident in my walk. I do have, if you ever go to my website, just for the viewers out there, What's Up Dallas Magazine has its own website. That I have a list of all the people that we network with and that we support. So it's tons of organizations, like 35 organizations and a couple of businesses in there. But I just feel like God has called me to connect the dots. Like, I don't do this for the money. I don't do it for the fame or anything like that. I just do it because God has given me a purpose and gave me the knowledge to use it. So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing right now.
it's, listen, it's fun. That's some. You know what's important is that you have fun with it. If
Mhm.
you having fun doing God's work, is more refreshing. That's what it is. It's more refreshing because, listen, when we were kids, we didn't want to go to church. We was like, oh, we
Mhm.
gotta go to church. No, we want to sit home, play the game, watch TV. But guess what? It was for a purpose, and that
Mhm.
purpose is when we got older, we be doing stuff like this. And
Mhm.
trust me, you gonna reach a lot of people. We gonna reach a lot of people. It's kingdom building time. Listen,
Mhm.
and time is near. Trust me. Did you guys see what happened in New York?
Mm-mm. No, go ahead and
No,
refresh me. Go for it.
no,
Uh-oh.
seriously, y'all didn't hear it? The
Mm-mm.
I think I know what
gunman,
you're talking. Yes.
gunman,
Mhm.
gunman in New York City. Guess what? It was 5 blocks away from where I work at. But I'll be home already. It happened in the afternoon, but I'll be home. But see, that's what I'm saying. People do stuff like that. Look, it's crazy as it may sound, but there's nothing happens under the sun that God does not allow. There is a
Mhm.
purpose in everything that happens in life. Whether we may see it as good or bad, there is a purpose in it. And that purpose is only for God to know, not us. Because see, we human. We'll see it with the natural eye and say, that's messed up. Why that gotta happen? But we not
Mhm.
looking at it from a spiritual aspect. Because when you look at it from a spiritual aspect, you have to look at it differently. You have to assess it differently. Because guess what? God is the author of all things. So he allowed it to happen for a purpose that we may never see and understand. Truly, the one thing we always talk about, not on the podcast, but it always comes in conversation, and it's a tough one. It's a real tough conversation. Is a woman being raped? What is the
Mhm.
purpose in that? That is tough to understand as a human being from a man's perspective who has a husband. I said who has a husband, who has I meant to say a husband who has a wife, and vice versa, a wife who has a husband. It is hard to tackle that from a natural aspect, but you have to look at that from a spiritual. It can even happen to one of us, our children, but you have to listen. That's why it's important how you carry and how you do things in life. Because the things that we do as an adult can affect our children.
Mhm.
That's why there's generational curses because of my acts can fall upon on my children, my great
Mhm.
children, my great grandchildren. It can, because guess what? I never cleansed myself. I never actually repented for my sins. And so guess what? That generational thing poured on my children,
Mhm.
hurt their children, and so on, until that generational curse is broken. And sometimes we don't understand it. We don't see it that way. Most people don't see it that way, but you don't know what happened 30 years prior to when we were born. And guess what? They never got the healing that they supposed to get. And guess what? They carried it on to generation after generation.
Yeah, I understand that one too. Absolutely. Like there's a lot of things that we experience that if we don't fix it ourselves, we don't start coming to God with all of our problems instead of trying to solve it ourselves. You know, we're always going to constantly have that fleshly fight, trying to fix it ourselves. That pride. Let's just say what it is. That
Right.
iniquity. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we always fight with that iniquity inside that want to do whatever we want to do. And yeah, I mean, that's a stronghold that I think everybody needs to understand. As long as we have iniquity, we always going to be struggling. Like for real. That's real talk.
Yeah, that's real talk. You gonna always struggle, man. Listen, let me ask you a question, Rachel. Let me see. I mean, this is not to test your faith or anything, okay? So don't take it that way. I always ask people this.
Mhm.
Do the devil, can he read your mind?
No.
All right. That is exactly. So it is why I ask people this all the time, because I want them to understand this, is that it is important. The things that you say out your mouth, that helps him trap you. So speaking things that into existence, let it be positive, let it be inspiring, let it be encouraging. Because when you say things that's going against you, or you struggle with something, you speaking in the atmosphere, guess what? You allowing the enemy to know where you weak at, because he don't know where you weak at. You have
Mhm.
to tell him how you are weak. You have to show him. That's why our acts and our character is important. God says in the word, the fruit of the spirit. And guess what? How can you see the fruit of the spirit if it's not growing? It has to be shown. And so the
Mhm.
enemy can't learn how to trap you if you don't show him. So that's why it's important to be surrounded around people that's going to encourage you, that's going to pour into your life, not pull you away where you can be alone, where he can get you at your vulnerability. When you're vulnerable, and he say, I know how to trap Rachel. I know how to trap Chef. Chef don't like this. So you know what? You always saying it. And he like, okay. I said this before. If you don't know how to trap a bear, how can you trap him? What do you
Mhm.
have to do? You have to learn how to trap that bear. You have to learn his habitat. You have to learn his move, his every move, so you learn how to trap him. If he come down this road at 3 o'clock every day, guess what? You gotta watch him. You gotta watch him. And that's the same thing with the enemy. He has to watch us and see how he can trap us.
I agree. I agree. So I would like to say that's going to be a topic for another conversation. So yes. As for right now, we are almost concluding this interview, but for all of our viewers out there, can you please tell them where to find you?
Yes, you can find this From the Battle to the Glory on YouTube, Facebook. You can find you look for at Chef Dennis 32, Facebook Chef Dennis Porterfield, and that's where you can find us at right now. And then also Instagram, 3 Course Catering 3235, and Chef Dennis 3235. Instagram. Both of those are Instagrams.
Mhm.
TikTok, Chef Dennis 32.
Got it.
And you
Y'all
can
better go
find us.
follow.
Yes, come through. Check us out.
All right. So that concludes our interview for today. We'll be back with another fabulous guest. Y'all, peace out.